Welcome back, Blade fans. This old sword is with you. And guess who else is with us today? Yes, T.KELL knives, something brandy new from T.KELL, a design collaboration between T.KELL, Tim Kell Knives, and Mr. Jared Neeve of Neeves Knives, well-known Instagrammer as well as certainly YouTuber, review of knives, etc., etc. Well, this is a collab and a karambit. And right now you're seeing this karambit in its small form. And we're going to show you how it's going to transform in a moment or two. But first I want you to check out this fantastic DLC double clip for horizontal carry that Tim included with the VLC. And it is an excellent sheath. You've got multiple ways to carry this. You could neck carry it by taking those clips off or leave them on. You can use a single DLC clip, deep carry, which, by the way, he did include with the knife. I was going to show you an interesting case that the knife came in, but maybe we'll do that before we leave. By case, I mean protective shipping carton, which is a telescoping plastic, which I find is very interesting and also sometimes challenging to open. Let's take a look at this karambit, this baby karambit, if you will, which fits so well it melts into the hand. And I know Jared likes to talk about hand melting handles, and I would tend to agree in this case. We've got some beautiful effective jimping here that's not too sharp. It's just a little kind of bumpy. But I'm able to get 3 fingers on it and the 4th finger at the pommel of the knife, and that's even shaped with that angle so that it fits right under there. Now, this would be kind of in your talon sort of grip, raptor sort of a grip with the point facing up. Karambits we like to talk about using in a reverse grip. So yes, oh, yeah, tripod's starting to get in the way and on my nerves. But it's been a steady way to hold the camera. Okay, so besides that, here we have a karambit, which is more in my book along the Filipino style of karambit with not too severe a forward curve. That enables it to be effectively used in this claw style point up method of holding, which I like. By the way, there's Jared's logo, the NK, Neeves Knives, and here is Tim Kell's. You can see that this is entirely made in the US and comes with what I think he used to call his bullet grips, I'm not sure, that have the carved out millwork on the corners. So far, I'm told this is only coming in a black handle. Now, there is another version of this VLC karambit, which is with a metal ring on the end. That's where this becomes very interesting. Along with this knife, and I'm not sure if it's an option or not, Tim can correct me if I'm wrong, came this, which is his sentry grip. And what happens with the sentry grip, where am I? Okay. What happens with the sentry grip is that we remove this handle scale, and I'm going to do that before the video's out. I'm going to do it off screen and present it to you on screen. It looks like that. So now you've got your karambit ring. And it works extremely well, by the way. even though it's only on one handle side, but it gives you a full ring to put your finger through, plenty of room, and just seems to work extremely well. So this is from 80 CRV2, as far as I know. And if we were to measure it and do our best to measure it, it's about 5 3/4 from the tip to the point of the pommel. And it's got a sharpened edge. We won't talk about the blade size. It's got a sharpened edge of 2 1/4 inches. So relatively small, and yet it is so pointy. By that, it does not have a fine point. What I'm talking about, if I can get a focus here, is that it's fine towards the very, very tip, but it is by no means frail. And I think the design came off extremely well where the swedge meets the main grind. If I can hold that in focus for you. We got kind of a rough stonewashed finish that is nickel boron coated, as are all T.KELL knives, which means on that high carbon steel, you have a coating which is impervious, and it's got a Rockwell in its own of about 70 or better, as I understand it. And it is slick as Teflon. So whatever you're cutting, it passes through smoothly because of that coating. We have the lashing screws, which have become a thing now with just about all T.KELL knives, which means should you have a knife that you want to put on the end of a stick, let's say, and maybe this would work well, you know, you have a method of putting a paracord through there and lashing it. Or at the very least, you could put a hole through a cord through there and use it as a lanyard. Now, I had a sheet of paper around somewhere. I'm going to come right back. What almost passed me by here is just taking some other dimensions for you for what it is worth. Blade stock is thick, 0.17 inches, or 4.3 millimeters. So it's a hefty blade stock. And the handle is 0.55. None of that really means anything in terms of this style and size of knife, I don't think. But let's take a weigh for it. Take a weigh. Ounces. 3 ounces, we're going to call that. With the sheath, because it's going to be on your belt. Oh, 4.25. So I don't think that's going to anchor you down. The thing about the sheath that I found, because it is a curved blade, it is a challenge, but Tim always creates excellent Kydex sheaths. What you do is you go in here, I found, and then snap it up a little. So I come in down there, and then you see, that way it pops right off. And there's that jimping on the sheath that Tim puts on all of his knives. It's so nice for popping it off. You can hear that snap. Anyway, getting to a cutting chore or two. After this video's over, get rid of these flying ants. No, they're not termites, but they're got to get rid of them. They're all over my lights. So we've got some sharpness here on the inner edge, but where this really excels is in this ability to act like a big hangnail. Just incredible. Now we're going to transform this. So when I come back, you're going to see this knife with the ring on it. Well, there you go. And that took me about 2 to 3 minutes. I'm going to keep hitting that with my foot until I learn not to. Anyway, took me about 2 to 3 minutes. And now we have a traditional karambit with a ring. As I mentioned, Tim is also going to be turning out a second run of these knives. I think they're being made now with the steel ring. But look at how integrated this whole thing is. How it comes over the butt of the spine of the knife to about just past midway. It doesn't meet up with the other grip, but doesn't need to. Is nicely machined and chamfered on both sides. And these sentry grips, by the way, are available for a number of Tim's knives. I'd say at least half a dozen or better, where you can add a ring to a knife that you may already have. Isn't that cool? But now we've got the ability to spin that knife, but also to be able to pop it out of the sheath with the ring finger, or the index finger rather, and get it in grip. Karambit rings, if you watch Doug Markita, or you have taken any Karambit study whatsoever, should not go all the way up to where you see my carbon fiber ring is here on my finger. Should only go up to that middle knuckle. You can remove it quickly that way, and that's the best way to be spinning it should you want to do your techniques such, and I can't do this in front of the camera, folks, such as that, to employ that tip, reaching out and gaining range with your opponent. But this feels extremely comfortable. Should you want to not use the ring, it's still extremely comfortable. Now, Tim has mentioned that this, they have, I think, struck drywall. I forget how many times. They've tested this G10, and it holds up. It does not break. So if you want to use that as an enhancement to your index finger knuckle persuader, if you will, it's definitely going to work. Now, you don't want to break windows with it. It's not meant to do that. You could do that with the steel version, but you don't want to do that with this one. But you've got an effective impact weapon there, that little nub. It's plenty thick. And as I said, Tim says he tested it. And if Tim says he tested it, I totally believe him. Now, you can hold it in the Raptor sort of grip here as well. And you do get a little more grip on the knife. Here's the grip that came off of the shortened version. That's all there is to it. Black G10. And these lashing screws work extremely well. They go on and off with, I forget the size, 9/16 or something like that, Allen. So it's an Allen. You got to make sure you take it out of the correct side. First one I ever took a grip off of, I ruined one of the screws. I snapped it because I came in on the wrong side. So you got to go on the left side of the knife. Well, depending upon which side you put them on. You could put them on either side, I suppose, whatever your preference is. But they go all the way through, and they snug down really, really well. So no problem holding it this way. No problems holding it that way. Traditional Karambit style. Here is, I pulled it out of the box, the DCC clip, the straight one that comes with it. Tim provided this knife for review, so I'm not sure what you're going to be getting, that I may have gotten something additional or something less. But there's your DCC that you could put on the sheath if you didn't want to ride it horizontally. Personally, I think these double DCC clips are just amazing. They'll lock it right onto your belt, and you can't even see the thing under a shirt. It's amazing. But if you wanted to go this way, you could definitely go that way. And he gives you all of the Chicago screws that you need to put it on, take it off. Here's a comparison that's kind of interesting. This is something from Columbia River. I believe it's called the Karambit, Karaman. Karambit, I think it's something else. Karaman, and it's a Foltz design, Nick Foltz. And here's another minimalist. I should have shown you this comparison without the ring on the VLC, but they're pretty similar size, except it's got that Indonesian style 90-degree hook, and it has a pinpoint tip. Very, very nasty tip, but it's nice for the Raptor style grip here. All right, to have that tip up a little bit more. I think it's a preferred method anyway. Whereas here, you know, it's kind of pointing down, so when you want to go forward, you got to sort of tip your arm up, right? You could come down and pull. Going forward, and they give you this little lanyard on here, which actually comes in handy because you can only get 1, 2, 3, last 3 fingers and not the index finger. So you can sort of do that, all right? And then one thing I noticed on the VLC is you don't want to cap your finger when you're holding it because you got that pointy part of the handle. So what I do when holding it in the shortened version is just grip this way, and you actually get a more secure grip than capping it, because you don't need the force to go in, you need the force to go out. Anyway, those are my thoughts on it. Put the Karambit away. Came with kind of a molded sheath. This wasn't too expensive. I think it was a $30 or $40 item from Columbia River. Here is a Boker. I wasn't going to show any folding karambits, but this is a Boker design by Alessandra DeSantis. And it's 154 cm, very nice quality. Kind of coming in a little bigger, a little bit more handle, with a hex that Alessandra likes to use on a lot of her ring knives. But this is an excellent one. It's got the wave opener on it. And again, it's a folder. So we're talking fixed today mainly. And here is a bigger fixed. This is a Tucson night morning design. Karambit claw, I think they call it. Look at this wicked thing. And I think the only times I've ever taken this out, I've managed to get that point into myself. So, or nick myself down here on the in the choil area. I think this, I think it was a Daraspina inspired design, if I'm correct on that. So that's bigger, a lot more to hold and carry. This is beautiful, minimalist. And when you get these, I think there's some guy that was on the Knife Junkie Thursday Night Knives, said he's got 3 of these. Unbelievable. So these are coming in around $250. It's a custom-made knife, and that may be a little beyond your range, but if you want a really handy Karambit-style knife, definitely look into the VLC. A lot of thought went into it. Here's a little size comparison for you. Ontario Rat Model 1. And for those of you that are carrying the MSIs, here's an MSI for comparison. It's small, and that's good. So a Karambit which will morph from ringless to ringed. The T.KELL collaboration with, I was going to say with Doug Markita, speaking of Karambits, with Jared Neeves of Neeves Knives. The VLC Karambit. It's a beauty. Check it out. Don't forget to give this video a like and subscribe. I'll be back soon.